everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Dragon's Lair. I'm your host, Peter Risco. Today I have a very special guest with me, Mr. J.M. Ryerson. He's an international speaker, a mindset and business coach. He's also the host of the Let's Go Win podcast and a best-selling author of Let's Go Win. The keys to your life, the keys to living your best life, and Champions Daily Playbook. He helps high-performing leaders define and execute their individual leadership styles in order to grow the impact and profits of their businesses. His passion is to help others succeed at work, at home, and in life by offering simple tools that provide work-life balance. JM, welcome to the show. Say hello to everybody.
Hey, what's up, you guys? And Peter, thanks for having me, brother. I appreciate it. Excited to be on the show, man.
We love to have you here, man. My goal is to bring as many entrepreneurs on to, that different avenues. I bring some coaches on, some people like fitness guys, just different things to help, bring some value to my clients, to my fans and, everybody out there listening. So let's jump in. I want to talk about you. Who is JM? Tell the people. I mean, I threw a couple of things out there, but, where do you come from? What got you into wanting to be an entrepreneur? Tell us how you got here. Tell us about your journey.
Yeah, man. So I'm a simple kid from Montana that, grew up playing a bunch of sports, played basketball in college, blew out my knee a few times, ended up studying abroad, came back, graduated, ended up in California. And that's when my entrepreneur career started. I remember sitting in my first interview and I was like, the guy said, "Hey, you can make as much money as you want and play golf every Friday." And I said, "Cool, sign me up." I was in. And that gentleman and I ended up building three different companies in the financial services world. And so I did that for 20 years. Now, don't ask me anything financial, Peter. That is not my game. I was all about building teams and leadership.
Absolutely.
And that's what really led me into kind of what I'm doing today. I wrote my first book. It was actually for my kids. And the whole idea was helping them not skin their knees as many times as their dad did. And it just led me into coaching, doing the podcast, which I know you're going to be a guest on, which would be awesome. And I get to work with people on performance, leadership, and mindset every single day. And I'm passionate about it, brother. So yeah, man, that's kind of me in a 1 minute, 2 minute nutshell.
Nice. Amazing. Montana, huh? I wouldn't have guessed it. Tell me this. I love the sky. I love looking up at the stars. I'm in New York City where I'm at. And when I look up on the cleanest night, I'll see like Orion's belt and maybe a couple of planets, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. But that's kind of about it. We don't really get much stars here. When we kind of go out towards Pennsylvania, yes, we do. But I heard out like in the Midwest, like Kansas area, and then up by like Wyoming, Montana, you get to see the Milky Way. When you look up in the sky, you see that purple cut through the sky. Is that something you've experienced or seen out there?
Yeah, brother, it's hard to explain because they call it big sky, right? Montana's a big sky state. It literally is the cleanest. There's stars that I don't even understand. It's just as far as the eye can see. It's just on a clear night, of course, but there is no pollution. There's no light pollution. There's none of that. So you just look and it goes and it goes and it goes. And I guess it's something I probably took for granted as a kid. You guys have the skyline, obviously, beautiful skyline. We just have the sky and the stars. So it's just a little bit different.
Every morning looking over the skyline. Yeah, I know. Believe me. I that's why I don't ever want to leave the tri-state area, man.
Yeah, no, it's just two different worlds for sure.
But yeah, no, listen, me, that's something that really piques my interest. I'd rather do that than go to a nightclub, personally. I plan on taking a trip with my kids. We're going to St. Thomas on this Monday for a week. But after that, the next trip I plan on doing is Iceland. I want to see the Northern Lights. So, do you guys get that up there in Montana? Do you get those green aurora borealis?
We do not like Alaska, Norway, Iceland. Like we get it, but not the way they do. So you're going Iceland, unbelievable, brother. I'm excited for you. It's one of the prettiest countries in the world. So
yeah, I wanted to go. It said we were looking online, and it said there's some dangers associated with it because of nature. You might deal with a bear or something. Like I said, listen, babe, it could be worse. It could be going somewhere where they're trying to kidnap Americans. So I'll deal with the bears. So listen, tell me the show up as you formula that you go by.
Yeah, man, it's actually a really simple formula. It's just literally being yourself. So when the easiest way I can equate it, okay, I'm 6'5". That's the way God made me. It takes zero time, energy, and my back's in complete alignment at 6'5". I could try to be 5'5", but it's going to take me a hell of a lot of time, hell of a lot of energy, and my back's completely out of alignment. But why? Why go through all that trouble if you're just, this is the way God made me? And so that's really the easiest way I can explain it is you have this beautiful, authentic, amazing self that is full of energy. If you just show up in that way and you apply that energy towards your business, towards your family, towards working out, whatever it is, and not trying to look a certain way, not trying to sound a certain way, but just being you, it's amazing how freeing and easy it is. But brother, I got to tell you, it's amazing how few people feel comfortable doing that because they've been taught that they want to fit in, they want to look a certain way, they think they have to be.
I tell you, man, I tell everybody all the time, people always chasing Instagram. They believe in these non-reality, these non-existent lives. People look great while they're on their 90-second reel, but once that reel is done, they go back to their miserable lives. And if people would really comprehend that, they say, yeah, I understand that, I know that, but deep down, they still want to believe. They just want to believe that that's real because they just, the desire is so strong that it's like any carrot you drop in front of people, they're going to chase it happily. And I try to always tell people that are in my circle, I say, guys, listen, the real flex, the real winning is when you're providing lives for your families that you don't have to worry about working. You don't have to worry about, are they going to struggle? You don't have to worry about them doing crazy stuff to, fit in and get this done. They got to be comfortable in their own skin. And again, when I see somebody like yourself kind of showing people that, you gotta just be you. And being you is very important out here. Don't be other people. Let them be them. You be you. I'll be me. And that way, we all bring unique things to the unique values to the table. And again, it's very difficult to explain this to people because defense mechanisms kick in and they go with the pushback that I don't think like that, but you do. Let's look at the life. Let's look at the choices. You do fit into that. So first step is taking accountability and accepting that there is a problem and it needs to get resolved.
But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's so freeing when people experience it. It's when they truly come into their own, you see it. It literally, that weight comes off their shoulder and they're like, oh man, that was so easy. That's exactly right. That's how life's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be a struggle. Whoever was taught that was some
poor programming done before my time, but we're seeing the results of it now. And I just think that, everybody needs to change. That's why I built my training course for my MCA Broker Bootcamp, because I'm like, listen, I was blessed to find my industry that didn't care what I did yesterday, all the poor choices I made in life. All of those were forgiven as long as I was willing to come in, give it my all today and tomorrow and moving forward. And that's what I've done. And it works. And this is why I try to bring this to so many different people, because it's there for people. If somebody doesn't have something going on, I understand how desperate you can feel. I understand how depressed you can feel. But when somebody offers and shows that there is an opportunity, not taking advantage of that, not going through that door, now the ball is in your court. Now it's on you because I'm showing you an opportunity. I'm turning the lights on. You want to turn them back out, that's fine. But you can't say that there's no opportunities out there. Say, I choose not to take advantage of the opportunities, and that's cool. So again, with me, I tell everybody, big thing with taking accountability for, everything that you're doing, good, bad, and ugly. I have a lot of flaws. There's a lot of things that I'm very behind in. Technology is especially one of them. And I grew up without it. I didn't learn to turn on a computer till I was 30 years old. It seems funny now when I laugh because I zip around the computer so much. But like for me, I'll give my admin a job and say, hey, please get this, and that done. And I'll come back in 15 minutes and it'll all be taken care of. If I were to do those chores, and they're simple stuff, but it's like tedious stuff, it'll never get done. This will get done today. That'll drag in tomorrow. Tomorrow's got more things coming in. So I understand where I lack, and I, put somebody in that role so that way I don't fall behind. But I take accountability for it. And this is where I show everybody, guys, listen, at the end of the day, you really got to be focused and comfortable inside yourself, because you're going to get so much negativity coming from the outside world, especially when you start progressing or you try to do stuff that deviates from the so-called norm. You're going to get a lot of pushback, not always because people are mad, but sometimes, but also from loved ones that are trying to protect you based on their experiences in life and their fear of you getting hurt by going in that direction because they've seen it didn't work for others. So they're, go get the job at the coal mill because I know that'll pay your rent for the next whatever. Don't go be an entrepreneur because you never know what can happen. I know my friend's son tried it and he lost everything. So those are the kind of things that I battle every day with people, with, my clients, showing them that, hey guys, they're not mad at you. They care about you, but you still have to place that where that is and not let that come through your brick wall, because otherwise, yeah, you go down to the coal mine and get that job, but what happens in, 4 years when you catch cancer? What happens when you break your back because you shoveled something the wrong way? Nobody's going to say anything except my poor baby. So you got to be out here taking advantage of these situations yourself and making sure you're doing what's best for you. So again, when somebody's coaching and teaching this stuff, I really love to kind of get into it with you. Let me ask you a question. How do you feel AI is going to be in regards to, getting rid of the employees, so to say? I like to get rid of the employee mindset. Okay. My thing is to make everybody an entrepreneur, be your own boss. That's my slogan, BYOB. And I see AI right now where I have a sales floor of about 50 guys. And we started using AI and implementing it to do follow-ups for them, where it's learning how to reach out and do the initial contact and then collect the documents. Once I have that, AI is going to do the work of 500 people, one bot. And all I got to do is push run and give it the leads. And then everything will come into me. So it makes it for me as the business owner much better, because now I don't have to depend on 50 or 80, 100 people and their attitudes and their aggravation and their problems and their this, and then motivate them and then train them. I have a bot that's going to do that. So what I'm doing is trying to teach everybody to become their own bosses and utilize the technology that I'm over here dealing with and kind of stand on my shoulders. Now, for you, how do you see AI taking over and getting rid of employees in the future?
Yeah, I think that's fear talking. When anybody says it's going to take over employees, it's going to look, it may replace certain duties and roles. But if you look at it from a fear standpoint, oh my God, I'm going to hold on to this. And that's a very scarce mindset versus how can I use it to my advantage, which is what you're doing, to say, look, I can utilize this to do more work, which is going to free me up to do the things I'm great at. And what you're talking about earlier is being self-aware, what you're good at, what you're not. So you said, I'm not good at technology, but I'm utilizing AI, which is technology,
Absolutely,
to greatly increase what I'm able to do. And that's looking at it from an abundant mindset. Look, it's not going to replace work that you can't continue to manipulate the AI to work for you, to work more efficiently, to spend more time with your family. If you're looking at it in any other way than I think, which is it's going to enhance and make our world a better place, that's just fear speaking. And by the way, this has happened forever. When the Industrial Revolution, people were afraid that, oh my God, the whole world's going to change. When the internet came out, oh my God, this is cell phones. Look, it
Every
just
big
evolved.
change, people feared, they screamed, end of the world, doomsday, and it all turned out to be more beneficial. Listen, like a lot of with the drivers, you got Amazon, you got FedEx now. A lot of time people aren't going to the supermarkets like they were. I don't go to the supermarket anymore. I haven't been to the supermarket in probably, I don't know, a year and a half, other than if I stop in real quick to grab like ices for the kids, Dad, grab me some of this. But 90% of our food shopping comes from Amazon Fresh or BJ's home delivery or ShopRite delivers at home. So everybody delivers at home now. And it's just, it's just kind of the way the world is now. And
Yeah, and see
you got to catch up or get left behind.
That's true, Peter. And what's cool about that is actually think of the fact that you created more opportunity. And here's how. Yes, you could go to the supermarket yourself still to do it. However, by using Amazon Fresh, by using Uber Eats or whatever delivery system you choose to use, now you're creating opportunities for other people to go and do that for you while you're doing other stuff, spending time with your family. It's just creating more opportunities. And if people see it that way and embrace it to say, how can I utilize this to my advantage? You can actually create more opportunities. And that's the same in our business. When you see an opportunity you talked about earlier, if you capture that, just like the people that you're training right now in your courses and what you do in your business, you're creating more opportunities for them. Yep. And so it's interesting. You can always fear the unknown, or you can say, hey, this is new. How can I upgrade to utilize it to make my life better? And that's ultimately what you're talking about. So for AI, it's incredible. And by the way, it's not going away. That lid's off, man.
ChatGPT is my employee of the year, and we're only in the beginning of April. That's all I got to say on that one.
And they're already at ChatGPT-4. I mean, that's just how fast this thing is evolving.
Oh, this thing is going to be solving. This thing is going to be. I believe that AI is going to bring a cure to cancer, and a bunch of other things that we can't get to right now for two reasons. One, if there actually is not a cure already established, because I don't like to get into the conspiracy theories. A lot of the times that shit turns out to be true, so I kind of stay away from that. But either one, they have it and they're not releasing it, and AI is going to force that out of them. Or two, they don't have it and AI is going to figure it out. Either way, AI is coming through, and we have to it's like a fire hose that you got to either know how to adjust the pressure so you can use the water the right way to put out fires, or you can hold it where it's at. But AI is here, and it would be foolish not to take advantage of it, because it can benefit everybody's life, from the kids learning, from the business owner, from the employee that has tasks and jobs to do. I give some of my team stuff. I say, hey, here, go to ChatGPT and put this stuff together. Get yourself a couple of these things. And I show them how to use this. As I learn, I try to show it to others. It helps me, by teaching, become stronger with that skill. I learn that skill better as I teach it. So I'm always like, when I pick up stuff, I swear I'm on the computer until 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning sometimes. Like last night, I left my office at 1:30 in the morning. And that's not something that's pretty frequent. I do that, especially nowadays. I got the podcast going, and a lot of the stuff is starting to move in that direction. But, for me, late nights are no problem. Early mornings are no problem. Saturdays, Sundays, no problem. I'm grateful that I have these opportunities, because I came up poor. So when I came up, it was, when I see opportunity, I seize it. I'm not a person that feels entitled. I don't say, oh, that's, I got another one around the corner. I say, hold up, let's look at this one. What can we do with this one? And one thing I tell everybody, I hear it a lot. People say you're lucky. And I've heard a bunch of, very famous people Very successful people say the same thing. Yes, you're right. I'm lucky, but the harder I work, the luckier I get.
Nope.
And I'm a big believer with that. So let me ask you this one. How do you empower your team? What do you do? Like, what would you, if somebody that's watching has a floor, has the group of people, and they're trying to empower them, encourage them, and motivate them, how would you go about that? Or
Yeah, man, this it's a great question. I love this question, and here's why. If you truly want to live an abundant life, if you want to grow and expand and exponentially grow your business, you have to get this down. When you empower your people, when you truly let go of the control, and you say, hey, here's the expectation of what we're trying to get done. This is the outcome when we're hoping it'll get done by, and you let go and let them go do their thing. Now check in, right? Check in on a weekly basis, a daily basis if you need to, not to look for their faults, but to celebrate their wins. Check in to see if they need additional support, but truly let them do it and empower them, not delegate, empower to say, I trust in you to go do this. That's when you're going to find people really thrive. And here's what's crazy, Peter. And you've probably seen this as many times as I have. They come up with far superior and better ideas than I ever would have when you let go. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things. When you say, this is what we're trying to accomplish, I'll check in with you at these times. And it's really just to make sure you're supported and celebrate the wins with you. Go for it. And man, every single time I'm surprised pleasantly because they do such a nice job.
It's funny you say that, because when I put people on the floor, I tell them, yo, I'm throwing you into the ocean, swim home. There's the shore, get out and swim. Because, I tell them what my expectations are, what they need to do. I give them a quick sales script to kind of just to kind of guide them how to keep the conversation. And then I tell them, use your own style, because everybody has their own way of talking, their own way of communicating with people. Find something that you did yesterday or that you learned from in the past and apply that to your clients. So I give them the tips, I give them the sauce, I tell them how to use it, but I give them the freedom to use it in their own way, because I don't want them robots on the phone. I don't want them saying, yes, I'm here for this and that, and reading right off the script. It's not enticing to a customer. Our business, our industry is mostly about building relationships with the clients, because our money is very expensive. I don't know if you know what I do. Are you familiar with the merchant cash advance industry?
Nope.
Okay, I'll give you a quick example. Let's say your local UPS store in Montana, right? And this is the example I always give because it just, everybody can get it right away. Your local UPS store in Montana, what's the main capital of Montana?
Helena.
Okay, so right on Main Street, they got a UPS store. That UPS owner is part of a franchise. So there's not one owner who owns all of the UPSs in America or around the world. There is multiple owners who own maybe one franchise, or he could own up to 100 or whatever the case is. This owner, for whatever reason, needs 100 grand tomorrow. Might have 800 credit score, but he doesn't file his taxes right. He shows losses every year. Might have great taxes, but he doesn't have a perfect credit. Might have great credit and good taxes, but something else is off. There's 99 reasons why the bank says no when it comes to giving businesses money just because. When it's with collateral, if it's, you're buying equipment, they're not transferring the cash into your account. Sure, there's an asset attached. If you mess up, we'll work it out and we can foreclose on that or repossess that. With these business owners, a lot of times, like the UPS guy, he needs 100 grand now. Whatever he has his problem for, he needs to upgrade for compliance for the franchise, or he's going to get a fine for every week that it's not done. And they mandate he does it with their contractors. So instead of him paying 20 grand, he's got to pay 50 grand. Whatever the case may be, maybe he needs to, I don't know, maybe he has to buy a partner out, or maybe he wants to open a new company or get into a new opportunity, but he needs cash right now, and he don't got that kind of money sitting in his personal account. Because most business owners, let's face it, are on the treadmill. Why? Because they like to live good lives. They're being successful, so they have families most of the time. The families want to enjoy good lives as well. Wives picking out vacations, husbands doing this, buying the new car, buying the kids this, whatever it is. Entrepreneurs are always, finding creative ways to go through their money and get some more tomorrow. So there's nothing different with the owner of the UPS store. So this guy needs 100 grand. So he comes to us and says, hey, listen, I need 100 grand within the next 24 to 48 hours. And I'm going to be able to turn that into 300 grand. Great. What I'm going to do is, I'm not a bank. I don't loan money. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-buying, basically, I'm pre-purchasing your future sales that haven't happened yet. I don't know if they're going to happen. I'm just gambling and betting on you and your future and your business that you're going to be around long enough for me to recoup my investment plus the fees that I charged on top. So what I'm going to do essentially is I'm going to buy $150,000 worth of your future sales at today's discounted price of 100 grand. So you're getting 100 grand today to inject into the business or whatever you got to do, because you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur. My job is not to focus on what you're doing with the capital. My job is to make sure, one, that you're using it for something that's going to be productive for your business, and two, that you're able to turn a profit on it. Now, it might not be a financial profit. Sometimes they need to cover a payroll because the person who was supposed to pay them said the check is in the mail for the past 3 weeks and they got payroll due and they ain't got no money in the account. So right now they're like, hey, if I pay you the payroll now, I don't care if I got to pay double that cost, because if I don't cover your payroll, you're leaving, all the training is out the door, and you're going to run to my competition. So it can be devastating for a business. So nevertheless, the UPS guy comes to us, we give him the 100K and we collect 150, but we do it in a creative way. We take $1,000 a day, Monday through Friday, automatically out of his bank account, ACH debit, for the next 150 days. Now, let's say he gets the money from us and it doesn't go as planned, whatever. He invested in something and it didn't flip yet. It will, but it hasn't. A lot of contractors take our money and they buy properties, cash. So they don't have the hard money guy on their throat wishing for their downfall, hoping that the project messes up so they can repo it. They can foreclose. They just deal with us on the side and they have that in another company. So whatever they're doing with it, if it doesn't work the way that they wanted it to work, all we do is we look at their updated financials and we lower and modify the payments based on what they can handle. We don't want them to not be able to handle, because then they're going to go out of business. We'd much rather drop the payments 50, 60, 80% and keep them on track paying. Most of the time, what happens is it's down the road where they're like, these daily payments are too much. I spent the money. It didn't come back as quick. My revenue slowed up. No problem. We look at your revenue, because what we're doing is technically buying a percentage of their receivables. So if their receivables today were 100 grand a month and we bought 30%, we're entitled to 30 grand, up to 30 grand. But if their receivables go down to 50%, then we're only entitled to up to 15,000 during that cycle. So again, if they call us and let us know, we will adjust them lower. If they triple their money, let's say they take that 100 grand and turn it to 500 in 2 months, in 2 weeks, and we see that in their account, we're never going to tell them, oh, you're going to pay more than $1,000 a day. We will still continue to pull the $1,000 a day. That's the most important factor for a lot of these businesses, because if you take a conventional loan, it's F you, pay me. I don't care. COVID, this, that, I don't care. Pay me, or we're going to kill your credit. We're going to kill your business. That's worse than anything, because that stays with you forever. We're more like a private investor who comes into the business without taking any ownership, without taking any, bear with me one second, without taking any ownership, without taking any voting rights. And we're kind of like their partner. I'm giving you 100, you're paying me back 50. So find a way to make that 100 into 200 or 300 or whatever. The higher you make it, the better the deal is that you got with us. But for us, we're getting a great deal on the returns on our money. And for the customer, they're getting a great deal because they have like a partner. They have like a partner that's here with them, but not able to control their company and put them out of business. Because imagine if I was a schmuck and I said, all right, you know what you're doing with your business, but I looked online and I'm a smart investor and I got money. I think we're going to buy this product from somebody on Alibaba because I already made a side deal with them and I'm going to get 10% of that purchase. So I demand that this company makes the purchase from this guy. And you as the owner are like, dude, that material is not going to last the life of the bank loan that's financing it. So we're going to lose our banks. We're going to lose our business. What are you talking about? And then, the piss and match and who's this and who's that. And you know what? I don't even care. I'm just going to freeze the accounts. My lawyer's going to kill the business. I'm going back to the beach and my 925 other investments. Have a nice day. And this is what happens to a lot of small business owners because they try to go about it saying, oh, well, it's only paying them 10% a year. Yeah, but you're also giving up 30% of the company for life. What's better, giving 20% of the company for life or giving me 50 grand for getting 100? In 2 years, you're already paying back 20.
Yeah.
So like, with me, this is kind of what we do, and we earn fees and commissions off of it. So we're pulling off of that 100 grand for making that introduction. We're earning $25,000 up to $25,000 in commission and fees. It's like a real estate guy that's able to make 25% of the purchase amount.
Yeah.
And our customers come back every month and a half, 2 months, not like twice a lifetime. So it's like real estate on steroids, light speed. And, I try to show people this. I'm like, hey, you don't need a real estate license. You don't need this. All you need to know how to do is bring value, understand our business, and, have the motivation. So this is where I try to introduce people and get people signed up with us because, I have a knack for taking people that society says have no chance and turning them into something. I like to see the best in people.
It's good, brother. That's a win-win. Exactly what it sounds like. And that's amazing.
Tell everybody what leadership qualities do you feel that people must have to be successful out here?
Yeah, it's funny, man. I get this question often, and the three big ones for me have always been the same. You have courage. You have to have courage to make the hard decisions, right? Courage to really, let go of that control. The courage to truly care about your employees and people that you work with. Humility. It's not about you. That's the leadership philosophy I've had for a long time. It's served me extremely well. Servant leadership and having that humility to really give that encourage and praise and recognition to your team. And then lastly, the ability to communicate and truly, both as a leader to be speaking, but also to listen. And when you put those three together, it's extremely attractive qualities that people want to be around. That if you have the courage to tell them, what they need to hear when they need to hear it, you have the humility that it's not coming from a place of ego, but it's coming from a place of love, and that you're able to communicate it in a way that's kind, especially if you're critiquing that, hey, this isn't an ego play. This is something that I'm truly telling you so that you can get better. When you put all three together, it's truly a magical leadership formula.
Nice, man. Amazing. Listen, these are the things that I want people to get access to, because this is the value I feel giving my listeners. Everybody doesn't know, you get overwhelmed with information out here nowadays, especially with social media. So much fake news. It's very hard to decipher the real from the good from the bad and vice versa. And a lot of people, they'll start going down one track and then they'll get, another rabbit hole pops up. So me bringing people that have actually produced results based on their strategies are what I like to show everybody. Like, hey guys, we're not just saying this because, we thought about it yesterday and wanted to do a 10-second Instagram post. I live this. I've done this. I banged my head into walls for years to get to where I'm at. because I seen the ultimate goal and nothing was going to stop me from that. It's because of the motivation, my laser focus, like just my fifth no is a yes attitude. And again, when I see other guys that, other men and women that are like me, it makes me like, all right, guys, listen, we gotta show these other people, because especially right now with what's going on with the economies, everything globally, there's always going to be crises. There's always crises. I'm a big believer that, in the PRS system, problem, reaction, solution. First they create a problem, then they wait for the reaction, and then they come in with a solution. And I understand it, I get it. So I'm not here to fight the system, so to say. I'm here to navigate inside of it. It's like, okay, the Matrix, yes, the Matrix is such a horrible thing. No, it's not. The Matrix is amazing if you can manage to be a director in the Matrix, not to be, a character. You don't want to be the character in it. You want to be a director. You have to understand how the Matrix works and then use the Matrix to work for you so it can take you outside of that. Because if you're just running on the treadmill of life, I call it, going to work, coming home, saying it'll get better tomorrow, it will not. They're raising, as every chance they see the regular folks, the middle class, every chance they see the middle class kind of treading water, they start pushing you down under again. Oh no, inflation, we're going to raise this, we're going to raise taxes, we're going to do that. Oh no, you can't get these write-offs no more, you can't do that, we're closing this loophole. And it's like, the people that it's hurting most are the poorer people, the working class people, because when me as an employer, when I get a foot in my face, where do you think that's going to trickle down to? I'm not changing my living lifestyle. I'm just going to go get AI to take its place. So now you raise the taxes, cool. I don't have any employees no more. I got a bot that does it. So now you're not getting that. You're not getting the employment taxes, all of the things that they would get. So again, with me, when I see a problem, okay, I find a solution for it. That's it. Because at the end of the day, I'm never going to sit back and say, "Oh man, it's over." It's never over. If we're still breathing and we're still focused and motivated towards that goal, then you got to keep on pushing forward. And it's very hard for people, especially that have failed before in life, to take that breath and say, you know what? Forget about yesterday. I'm going to make it tomorrow. It takes a lot of push and motivation from outside to get into some people, especially when they're, surrounded by a lot of negativity. A lot of the youth today, they're growing up. I have kids that are 18, my twins, and I tell them all the time, I keep them away from, like, people are like, why do you keep them away from these music genres, like the hip hop music? And I say, guys, listen, when I grew up, I listened to hip hop, and that was like, what we learned when we were growing up. I wound up spending 7 years of my life in prison behind a bunch of bad choices I made. Just numerous things, all my life getting in trouble. And when I was finally away, I was around certain people and I was like, man, this is not what I knew growing up. It was like, when you're young, you're like a blank slate. And then whatever people write or draw on that is kind of how you are into the world. And when I grew up, we didn't really have opportunity. Where we knew rich kids in other parts of town, we knew Wall Street was down the block, Midtown Manhattan, all the billionaires, whatever. They're not letting us in. They're not talking. They're walking right past, like we know we don't exist. So growing up, I didn't have access to that kind of information, those type of individuals. And what I noticed was a lot of the music and the movies and the TV, all of the entertainment was geared towards making me, anyway, feel like it's all right to throw my life away. That's cool. That's no big deal. Oh, you go to jail, nobody cares. It's going to be fun. But then when I got into jail, I was like, what the fuck? I was tricked. I was brainwashed, because these guys are trying to claw their way out. Nobody wants to be there. There's like, this is not cool, because you don't go home. But these guys make that persona, they make it seem like that's the in thing to do. And you have a lot of these young kids in the jails, especially that I witnessed, that are sitting on 20, 30, 50 years, and they are like babies and they still think it's cool. They're like, oh, that's what I had to do. And I'm like, man, this is modern day slavery here, guys. We're working for 70 cents a day. We're not allowed to be around our families. We're locked up and we're not allowed around the opposite sex. I mean, what more other than calling us herded cattle do you want to say as far as slavery? And it's like the brainwashing is so deep and ingrained that people are like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to do this. When I come home in 20 years, they're going to love me. And I'm like, nobody's going to remember you in 2 years. Forget about 20. And again, this is what I'm trying to show to the youth of today, that these guys have these phones in their hand, technology. They can get all around the world with everything. So take advantage of it and don't allow this mindset from the community that's been getting this for the past 20, 30 years. Don't let that overtake you, because this stuff was designed to make you fail. I don't let my kids listen to that, because I don't want them thinking it's cool to hear this guy got shot or I shot 12 people. I'm like, guys, that's not cool. Somebody laid in the hospital, somebody lost their family. Encouraging destruction for me is like, I understand both sides of it. I was angry as a youth because I was poor, and I looked at everybody like I should sell drugs to everybody. I should turn everybody into drug addicts, and I make the money. My family was destroyed by drugs when I grew up. My father was on drugs. So again, I had like an ego where I felt that I was entitled to get back. So I'll make millions selling drugs, and who cares who I poison, because nobody cared about me when I grew up. And that was the attitude I kept with me for a long time. And it was when I was away, I started seeing things a little differently, that, there was so many other opportunities where the guys were around me like, Pete, man, what did you do? Drugs? Man, why? And I'm like, what did you do? Oh, I stole 10 million. I'm like, how much time did you get? 3 years. I'm like, what? I'd gladly do 5. Like, what do you mean? And it was that mentality that made me sit back and say, man, something's not right with my thinking. I got to change this shit because I'm wrong. That's that. Like, I'm wrong and I need to fix it. And again, it took a long time for me to kind of see inside myself and find, how do I stay away from this? And the way that I found, that I tell all of the kids when they're coming, I say, you have to burn the bridges. If you don't burn the bridges, you're gonna dip your toe back in. I'd say scorched earth. Don't talk to me about the past, other than if I'm going to tell you something that can bring value to you, to not do that, to avoid that from happening because of something I went through. I'm not going to tell you, oh, that was so cool when we were in the prison, and that was not cool. That was like the worst time of my life. My kids were born. I missed out on all of this stuff, and people don't really see that all the time. And again, for me, I don't like to talk about it because I don't like people thinking that I'm glorifying it because I made a lot of money in that industry. I also lost a lot more than the money that I made there, because now I'm making more money than I ever made in my life. And I made millions in the drug business, but I'm making more and I don't lose sleep and I don't have to worry about robberies because my money's in the bank and tied up in investments. And I'm just a very happy guy that wants to give opportunities to people that, that don't think they have them. So again, when I get around guys like yourself, I get happy because, you're bringing out positivity to the world. You're trying to get people to do better and build a better future. I don't like that. Push them negative, make them not want to do it, make them want to stay poor. Yeah, you get free health care, but you can't make more than $1,500 a month. But I'll give you a cell phone. This to me is like, it's so insulting to personally that I'm like, guys, I try. And sometimes I try on lost causes. The guys on my floor tell me all the time, they're like, Pete, here's something else, man. I would have kicked that kid out 2 weeks ago, and you keep letting him back in. And I'm like, you know why? Because that one time he gets that right customer on the phone and he gets a deal where he's got a $10,000 commission, coming, life changing. I've had it happen to me with $100,000 commissions. So I know, and I'm like, man, it's just one phone call away. So maybe if he sits around, I have 50 guys, my float is crazy. It's like musical chairs in here. People come in for 2 weeks, they think they can make it. They don't see the results they were expecting. They don't want to push forward. They leave. I sit back. I say, guys, I can only, I'm not going to beg nobody, but, give it a little while, stay with it. My first year, I didn't make any money because nobody taught me nothing. Our industry is very tight knit. Like, yeah, they will hire you to do the stupid work, but they're not going to hire you to do, close deals or do anything like that where you're going to be making serious money, big commissions, because they keep that in the family. I'll give that to my nephew, my brother, my cousin, the rabbi's son, this guy, that guy, this guy, keeping it in the community, which is great. But I didn't come in like that. I came in by myself, banging my head and absorbing like a sponge. So now I'm like, guys, I'm giving the opportunity to anybody who's willing to come in here and work hard, which opens the door to a lot of people that it was, previously shut to. I want to ask you a question, JM. What book would you recommend for an up-and-coming entrepreneur? Now, I know you probably have plenty, but out of all, what would be the most comprehensive book with the quickest and easiest read? Because you got to remember, not everybody has time to read a 600-page book. What would be something that you would recommend that would give people the concepts that they want to keep them motivated, going in the right direction?
Mindset. It's the easiest, most important book for, I don't care what position you're in, by Carol Dweck. It's all about having a growth mindset. It's not a quote unquote business book. It is a lifestyle book, and everyone should read that book. If you haven't, go get it. Carol Dweck, brilliant read, just called Mindset.
Amazing. I like to, my favorite one is Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill.
Yep.
I got to tell you, man, after reading that book, it literally changed a lot of things. It changed my perspective in a lot of ways in life, especially about like bringing value, going above and beyond, doing more than you're paid to do because you can, not because, I'm only going to do what I'm paid to. And writing your own ticket, where if you can conceive it, you can believe it. And I've come from I've climbed out of hell, literally. So for me, it's like, that was something that I was able to grasp quickly. And I keep hearing a lot of people telling me these different books that are pretty easy reads also, that I started picking up. And I like it because now I'm going to check that book Mindset out. Because for me, this is what I do. I like to, being an entrepreneur is more about your mind frame than anything, because you're going to go through a lot of struggles. You're going to go through ups. You're going to go through downs. You got to keep staying the course, because if not, I tell everybody, the road to success is littered with corpses. Don't be one of them. You got to keep pushing forward, because nobody cares. People are looking at you to go bad. They want your book to fail. They want you to not succeed. Why? So then they can feel better about themselves and say, see, he didn't make it. I made the right choice by not doing that. I didn't have to go through that. Me, I'd rather fail 1,000 times than not try.
Yep, 100%. You know what, Peter? I read that book every single year just to remind myself, thinking yourself.
I read The Richest Man in Babylon. I've been reading it for the past 3 years, and I like it a lot. It's short read, it's quick. But if I had to line them up, I would still say Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, over The Richest Man in Babylon when I recommend, because Think and Grow Rich covers so many different changes that you need to make. You need to write stuff down, write your goals down, say them out loud. Talks about the energy and, the vibrations that are caused. So for me, that's why I always stick with that one. But Mindset, I'm definitely going to take on and check out. I want to ask you another question. Tell us about a time when you were going through some serious adversity, and what did you do, and how did you turn that around?
Sure. So, I mean, last year, March 6th, 2022, my dad killed himself.
Oh my
And
gosh, my condolences.
it was not something that I ever knew was possible. He was one of my best friends in the world, my dad, my hero.
Oh,
And that's obviously not something that I didn't want to be part of that club. I wish he was here today. What I would say, though, is it gave me a level of perspective that you can't buy. And I miss him every day, of course. I wish he was here. I want to talk to him. I want all those things. But my level of perspective is so much greater because of the way I lost him. And it just made me realize how much you need to value every single day that you have on this earth,
absolutely.
that you need to be, excuse me, grateful for all that we have. And so it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through. And, I'm passionate about helping people with mental health and making sure that they're checking in, and it's okay if you're hurting, like just like if you had a
Absolutely.
broken arm, go to the doctor, right? If you have
You gotta explain, you gotta let it out, and you can't make any rational decisions right away because tomorrow's always going to come. And people gotta, it's a lot easier said than done. People go through a lot of things, but the people that you ask that like if you talk to a lot of people that were going to commit suicide and somebody saved them, something happened and it didn't happen, you'll hear the majority of them are going to say, you know what, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't, it wasn't what it was, like what I was thinking. After a couple of weeks, everything got better. I had a client who owed me a small amount of money, but he owed a lot of other people a lot more. And he was at like $1 million in debt when I met him. He had some loan sharks taking money from, he was just like really a mess with the finances. I got him down from 1 million all the way down to 100 grand. The last 100 grand he owed, and he just kind of was at the point worn out. The guy calls me one day. He says, Pete, or sends me a text. Pete, please do not file the UCCs and the lawsuits until after the life insurance policy clears. Thank you. You've been such a great guy. You're the only one that ever cared about me. I'm sorry, I can't go any further with this. Please do not sue us until the life insurance policy clears for my wife. And I'm like, dude, the guy owes me 8 grand. I've made probably 200,000 off of the guy over the past 2 years I've been working with him. I could care less about that 8 grand. What's the problem? Tell me, let me help you. He didn't answer the phone. I called one of my partners right away. I said, hey, scrub his number, pull up, because we have a way of scrubbing numbers. So we pull up a bunch of numbers that are associated with the person over the past 5 to 10 years. So sometimes we get 3 numbers, sometimes we get 30 numbers. So I had one of my guys right away. I said, hey, something's wrong with so-and-so. I'm not going to mention the name. Something's wrong with them. The guy just sent me a crazy text. I think he's trying to hurt himself. Run down the list of numbers. Try to get his wife. Try to get a family member. My guy started running down the numbers. About the 5th number down, he caught the guy's mother. Said, hey, I need you to go check on him. He's saying some crazy stuff. She said, oh my God, I've been nervous all night. He said something weird to me. I couldn't get in touch with him. I know exactly where he's at. I'm calling the ambulance now. When the ambulance showed up about 10 minutes later, he was found he was found laying on the floor, passed out with a bottle of pills, empty pills. He swallowed the whole bottle at his office. And the ambulance came in, saved him. They said if they would have found him an hour later, he wouldn't have made it. And he called me after he came out of his 72 hours of going through the evaluations. And he said, Pete, you saved my life. Thank you so much. I can't believe what I was willing to do. Get rid of my kids. They were going to be gone be here without me over this. You were so right. Thank you. So for me, I was just like, I was happy that this was the case. And then, the guy now doesn't answer my calls or anything after that. I've never been able to get in touch with the guy, but we're suing him. So, my lawyers talk to his lawyers. He's still alive, but man, I'm like, listen, I don't care if you're mad at me, you hate me, I did that because you can tell yourself a week from now you want to kill yourself. Okay, then If you still want to do it a week, all right, give it another week. And, keep pushing that needle until you can't. But at least not now. See what tomorrow brings. So, listen, I don't want to go too much into that stuff, but you mentioned that story, and I wanted to just kind of share that with you, that I had a situation with somebody and I actually saved the guy with that. And it was
amazing,
I'm
brother.
pretty proud of.
Good work.
But I do understand how that mental illness happens. I understand how people get depressed and stressed, especially me being in the money business. You know how many text messages I get from people saying, I'm just going to throw it away because, they're at a point. And again, when I see that kind of stuff, I'm like, listen, I'm going to connect you with my attorneys now or my collections, because I don't want to be responsible for something if I said the wrong thing to you, or, I just don't want to be responsible at that point. But I see it all the time, man. JM, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, I'd say go check out the Let's Go Win podcast, and then Let's Go Win 365 on any social media platform. And, they'll get me, man. You DM, hit me up. I'd love to keep in touch with people. So I'd love for people to check it out. All
right, great, man. Listen, it was such a pleasure having you. You're more than welcome back anytime. If you ever fly into New York City, you come down to the Dragon's Lair headquarters over here at 40 Wall. You come sit in the seats with us, not on the internet. But it was great to have you on, nevertheless. And it was really a pleasure meeting you, man. I got to tell you, I feel that my guys got a lot of value, especially talking and sharing that story with your father. I mean, a lot of other people may be going through that and they don't know how to bounce back at this point. They're like, I lost a loved one. I can't move forward. And sometimes people need to hear that from other people. So I'm very glad you were able to share that and, provide that for everybody.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
All right, brother. So listen, everybody go check out my guy, JM. Great guy. Go read his book. Also, read the book Mindset. Go check it out. I'm going to go check that out myself. And everybody, listen, we're wrapping up another episode of the Dragon's Lair. Again, I'm your host, and I'll see you guys on the next one.